screen quick. Alrighty. How to design a career you actually enjoy. So I'm conflicted about this title because as someone who's been through a lot of workshops and presented, I want to try to deliver on the actual title, but just as expectations, yes, I will not be able to help everyone and help 100 people figure out a career they actually enjoy in this span. But what I will and try to do is set you on the initial part of that journey, get you started, and move you toward that direction, and also just give you some stepping stones to actually reach that. That's the intent. So I cannot deliver on, fully deliver at least on this actual title, but I will do my best to get you there. All right. So a little bit of context first, a little bit about me before we dive in. Um, I actually started my career in nonprofit. I spent 2 to 3 years as a pastor. I ran a house church. I was working with soup kitchens and hospitals. Very, very interesting life, but not a lot of money. And so, after a couple of years of just being tired of being broke, I ended up flipping houses for 4 years. Just absolutely different world. A lot of money, a lot of status in that world, but not as meaningful. And that's the key word. Uh, I got tired of that world because of that default culture and decided, hey, I want to do something meaningful again. And I ended up running an education company for teens for a couple of years. Had to wind that down because that's the reality of business. Education services is kind of hard. So I decided to wind that down and ended up finally getting my first 9 to 5. And I worked in tech for a couple of years. And while I was in tech, I finally pivoted to work on Genius of You. So all that to say is that if you are here, you probably resonate with the mission of Generous World. This is just to demonstrate I understand that this path of having that circuitous journey, doing a lot of different things, and not really sure how to explain yourself. What is the through thread behind uh, what motivates me? Uh, so I understand that. So everything that I built with Genius of You is kind of with that in mind. And of course, this whole workshop is intended to underlie that as well. Right. So briefly, in terms of our roadmap, just 3 clear sections. I'm going to open with a couple frameworks to talk about how we think about career design. For some of you, it'll be review, and for some of you, it'll be new. And hopefully, I'm adding a twist for those of you who are familiar with some of those frameworks. And then, of course, for those of you who got the email and submitted some of the pre-work, I'll go through 10 examples of people's scores and try to reinforce that in terms of the whole arc of today. And then, of course, we'll close with hopefully have 5 to 10 minutes and some buffer time for Q&A. I'll stick around until everyone's gone. All right. Okay. So a few frameworks. The first one is Ikigai. All right. So Ikigai is a Japanese concept for a reason for being. And so this tends to be a concept that comes up, a term that comes up when it comes to career design because it's pretty holistic. It constitutes 4 parts and if you get those 4 things, in theory, that creates your ikigai. And those 4 parts are 1, what you love, 2, what the world needs, 3, what you can get paid for, and 4, what you are good at. And in theory, if you get all 4 of these in a particular career, that becomes your quote unquote ikigai, right? So pretty straightforward. The current status quo of a lot of career courses out there and career content out there, I feel like really well addresses what the world needs and what you can get paid for. A lot of these courses are like how to find your dream job, how to land a 6-figure job, et cetera, et cetera. I am not trying to compete with those. I think those are very well established principles. So you can go elsewhere to find those things. But what I think is absolutely missing, and there's not a lot of tooling for, is these two, which is what you love and what you're good at. And for the purposes of this conversation, I actually want to reframe and not use the word love because I feel like love can mean so many things to so many people. It's such a vague term. It's really frustrating when people talk about it. I'm just going to call this enjoyment because it's a lot simpler. It's more clear cut to understand. But why even do that? Why even call that enjoyment? Why reframe it as enjoyment? So here's the theory. When you enjoy something, you it feels effortless. At least when I think about all the things like when I was a kid or a teenager, the things that I did in my free time, like the video games that I played, like the games that I played with friends, just hanging out with friends, whatnot. Like you didn't have to force me to do that, right? When you think about the things that you do in your free time, no one's pressuring you to do this stuff, right? It feels effortless. You can just do it, free time. Uh, and with the things that I have enjoyed on, I tend to have more attention to detail. Like I remember, like I like tinkering in spreadsheets for fun, and like I tweak all these formulas for fun, and like maybe for some people that's weird, but for me that's like super satisfying. And like I'm double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking at times, right? It's easier to be engaged. It's easier to get lost in the doing, and it doesn't feel like work. And that's really the point that I want to drive to, right? When you enjoy stuff, it's easier to do more, and it doesn't feel like work. It's almost like free productivity. That's how I like to frame it. Um, and the good thing is when it doesn't feel like work, you don't have to recover from work. And so I don't know if any of you have that had that feeling when you were working a 9 to 5, where I felt like I would just go to work, to go home, to recharge from work, just to go back to work again. And then the weekend was just recharging from the entire week of work, only to go back to work on Monday. Right. So that felt like a very frustrating kind of rat race kind of dynamic. Right. So in theory, if you do more things that you enjoy, there's less of a need to recover, and therefore you just feel more abundant overall. Um, and this other interesting point is that it's a lot easier to become really good at that particular thing, right? And this is the thing that I want to focus on for this next point. Um, enjoyment, you can basically argue that enjoyment is the most effortless path to mastery. So how do we connect this back to ikigai, right? So ikigai, like I said, well, let's just change this from love to enjoyment. And I feel like these two worlds are kind of under addressed. So tying these points together, if enjoyment could be the most effortless path to mastery, we could basically draw this line of, hey, if you find out what you enjoy, it likely creates a path for you to become good at the thing, right? And then we can draw more lines. Hey, if you get good at a thing, it's more likely that you can get paid for that thing. And if you're good at the thing, you're likely to find the need in the world that can benefit from that thing you are now good at. So basically, if I were to distill it even further, it's like, hey, if you find out what you enjoy, it can actually, in the long run, lead to all these things around these downstream effects when it comes to career, can lead to finding an ikigai. Of course, this is oversimplified. Of course, there's a lot of practical things that come into this, but this is the theory, right? Okay, so let's get into a little bit more concrete ness in terms of each of our situations. Right. So something that I feel like a lot of people don't have, like I mentioned, and have an understanding of because of lack of tooling, lack of cultural conversation, is what do we actually enjoy? I don't feel like I had a very good awareness of that for most of my career, and my mission, at least with the work I'm doing, is trying to help increase that self-awareness. So there's 4 buckets here, right? So there's 4 quadrants, and uh, on the y-axis is stuff that you're good at and not good at. X-axis is stuff you don't enjoy and do enjoy. All right, so let's start at the bottom left. Some of you might recognize part of this framework, but it's called the zone of incompetence. So things that we are not good at and do not enjoy, right? You obviously want to avoid these things, as minimize this as much as you can. This is a pretty clear-cut category. We all probably have some intuition of like, yeah, do not want to do that. I'm not good at it. I want to avoid it. This for me, this is taxes. I don't want to do taxes. Not good at it. I'm going to outsource it. It's going to be a headache. If I spend energy, it's going to cost a lot of effort, right? Another thing that is in this category for me would be design work. Anything that's more artistic, designing slides, making things aesthetically look good. For some of you, super easy. For me, hate it. I don't I don't particularly care about it, and that's okay. It's just recognizing what things land differently for you. Okay. Next box. Things that we are good at but do not enjoy. This would be the zone of excellence. And this is the one that we usually get trapped by, right? This is the one where if you're in this generalist community world, you have this thing that your past colleagues recognize you for and know you for, but you're not jazzed about it. For me, this is flipping houses. I mentioned this in my journey. I used to flip houses. I did it for 4 years. I flipped like 20 houses in 4 years. I'm good at it. Do I want to do it again? No, I do not. I was employee number one at my last like tech startup. Uh, do I like doing that? Not really. Will people pay me nice money for that? Absolutely. So this is the one that we get trapped at, where it's like the straddle of I'm good at it, people know me for it, but if I could choose, would I do this full time? No, I would not. And that's the reality that some of us have. But I think we have a strained relationship with this category. And I'm here to offer a reframe. This box is basically meant to be fallback and stability. It's a good thing to have in your back pocket. And so basically for me, at any point, I know that I can go back to the world of flipping houses and make good money. I can go back to be a head of operations at a startup and I'll get paid for it. It's good to know, right? It's easier to take risk from a place of fallback and stability than having no safety net, right? So I know many of us might have a strained relationship with this category, but just think about it as safety net, right? At the worst, you can always come back to that, right? Okay, next category. Stuff that you do enjoy, but are not good at. I call this category the future zone of genius. All right. And this is one that most of us do not pay attention to, at least not consciously. And this is important because if we're talking about the previous slide or this slide that we're talking about right here, right? If enjoyment is the most effortless path to mastery, and if you do things you enjoy, you're likely to get good at it. That's where this really comes in, right? Things that you enjoy that you're not good yet. The whole thing is that you're not yet good at it. But fast forward a couple years, maybe 5, maybe 10, depending on how much time you put into it, this can eventually become something that you're good at, right? So, an example for me, right? When I started working with teenagers when I was in high school, I thought I could turn anything that ever into a career. I thought that was a passion, that was like a side thing. And then fast forward 10 years later, because of that experience, I start an education company specifically for teens. All of a sudden, this thing that was a side thing became a viable path for me to do something with that. So that's an example from my past. An example in my current is that right now, some of you might think this is weird. I rotate between 11 different languages on Duolingo. That sounds insane, but I am not doing it for the now. I am doing it for the fast forward 10 to 15, 20 years later. I do it because it's fun. Do not do this if you think it's effortful, right? Again, it's focusing on stuff you enjoy. I find it mildly entertaining to spend 5 to 10 minutes a day on Duolingo and rotating between different languages. And I trust that if I do that long enough, eventually I will be decently competent that it starts opening up other opportunities for me. Right. So this is one that we pay rarely pay attention to, but if you put a little more conscious effort on it, this starts creating pathways for your ikigai down the road. Right. And I think part of the challenge when it comes to designing career you actually enjoy, a lot of us are thinking about how do I find one right now? Right now, I want the career now. Right. And the reality is that sometimes it takes time. And the longer time that you invest into those skills, the easier and more options that you get. So it's not only so don't think just in the short term, also think in the long term. And this category helps build that awareness. Right. Last but not least, stuff you enjoy and are good at, of course, is the zone of genius. This, for a lot of people who haven't done a lot of this reflection work, a lot of us feel less sure about this. Like, what do like the line between stuff I enjoy because I'm good at it versus stuff I enjoy inherently, sometimes kind of fuzzy, right? But when you have awareness of this becomes the career sweet spot. This is the ingredient for the supposed ikigai, right? And the intention of the assessments that are built are to just surface this category, to help you create more awareness around, well, what is it that I actually enjoy, to shortcut part of that journey for you. All right. Cool. All right. I'm just glancing at the questions. So it seems like, okay, someone mentioned, how did AI come into play here? Deb said, I enjoy good at writing. However, it isn't something that pays well since the inception of AI. Good at writing. Um, so yeah, writing as a skill is, so there's okay, two thoughts. One is, uh, I guess it really depends what kind of writing. Like in specifically for me, I used to write on Quora back in its heyday, and I basically committed to write one answer. I think it was 300 words or something every day on Quora, and I ended up writing like 500 something answers on Quora. Became a top writer, got millions of views, got published on like Ink Time, Nashville. So like, there's certain platforms that really allow you to do that, and certain kinds of writing that allow you to do that. So it's really hard without more context. One specific example that's monetizable is my friends over at Ship 3430 and Premium Ghostwriting Academy. And my friend Cole, Nicholas Cole, he literally teaches people how to ghostwrite and how to make a lot of money ghostwriting. And he has a whole system for it. I've basically seen him since he was like back in his core days, like 10 years ago. So I've seen him put in the craft in. So that's a very concrete question with a somewhat specific answer. Okay. So yes, there are paths. It really depends on your style of writing, and in certain styles make it easier to monetize. Other styles of writing maybe take longer to monetize and have much more niche application. Okay, cool. Let's transition. So I gave you two frameworks. First framework, Ikigai. Second framework is these four buckets. This in of itself can be its own reflection exercise. You can literally take this two by two, uh, go home later today and just literally take 10 to 20 minutes, reflect about, hey, of all the skills that I have in my toolbox, career experience that I have, you can slot all of your skills on this map and get a little bit more self-awareness around, hey, what do I enjoy, not enjoy, good at, not good at. And that can give you much more conscious control over where you put your time and energy, and therefore what you look for in your next steps. All right. Alrighty, so let's transition. Live review of people's results for people who have done that pre-work. Okay, forgive the UX. Like I mentioned, I am not the most aesthetic guy. I'm kind of functional, so I'm using a spreadsheet. Um, okay, so for the first 10 people who did it, I'm going to try to cover all of them. More than 10 people submitted. I will uh, I did one-liners for everyone who submitted, but I'm only going to go over the 10 who who did it first. And so this sheet will go out in a follow email, so everyone will be able to see it. So no one's missing out. It's just that the early birds get a little bit more attention live, right? Okay, so I would love if you are here, if you submitted, please be ready to unmute. I would just love to get your feedback and response on your customized and oversimplified one-liner, right? And all this is I don't know most of you, right? So it's just my reaction based off of reading your two sets of scores, right? So, uh, Katya, are you here? Please unmute and say here if you are. Otherwise, I will skip you.
Wait, I will. Okay,
Or
I now gave permission everyone to unmute, so they should be able to unmute.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Sorry,
okay,
I'm a bit sick, so I'm not going to turn my camera on, but go for it.
no worries. Okay. Here's my one. I wrote prolific, visionary, strategic creator. Curious what your reaction is.
1000%.
Thousand
I just
percent.
came
That
out
is
of a 2 hour meeting with my line manager when she said exactly those two words, visionary and strategic creator.
okay. I like it. A thousand percent
If
is
I
better
can
than
ask.
100%. I like it. Okay.
What
And
does
then,
prolific mean, if I can ask? Sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
What does prolific mean, if I can ask? Sorry.
Prolific means like wide reaching, or like lots of volume. Like you do it a lot and you do it well.
Very
Just
much so. Tick the box. You're good there.
okay. All right. And then MM, are you here? Please unmute. Okay. If not, we'll skip. I don't know who V is. This is also why I asked for full name. So I'll give you a couple seconds. V, if you're here, please unmute. Alrighty. Let's go to Tammy. Are you here?
Present.
Great. Tammy. Curious, people smart.
Thanks. Every personality test I've taken, curiosity and learning is always up there. So curious was spot on. People also say that I am a people person. So they also say a lot of other things, but this
Sure.
does encompass.
Great. Alrighty. Again, it's oversimplified, so I'm not trying to capture every dimension, but I'm trying to get like the spikes. Great to see you. Okay. Alina, are you here?
Also, I just seen that we just commented that they're here as well.
Okay. Let me come back to V. Alina, is Alina
Yes,
here?
I'm here. Hello.
Okay. Alina, great. People tuned, build it for impact, eye for detail.
Oh, okay. Yeah, people are tuned. Build it for impact for sure. Eye for detail is interesting. I wouldn't personally define myself as that. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's I think I would it's that thing is like good at doesn't mean that I want to do that.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, but thank you. Yes.
Alrighty. 2 for 3. I'll take it.
Cool.
All
Thank you.
right. Sue, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Learn everything, do everything at a high level.
Hilariously spot on. Yeah, it's
Great.
totally me.
All right. Love hearing that. Okay. Allison, are you around?
I'm here.
Okay. Learn so that you build for people with people.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love to hear that. Great, great, great. All right, Dexter, you here?
Yeah.
Okay. Infinite strategic vision. Learn, do, build everything.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I always like the chuckles. Okay, great to hear. Stella, are you here?
I'm here.
All right. Team-oriented, intuitive strategist.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely intuitive. I have a question though, because when I took the test, I was kind of surprised at one of the results. Artisan, I came up as negative something, and I don't know
Sure.
if artisan relates to creativity, but I always felt like creativity was my superpower.
Okay. So multiple questions there, and those are great questions. So yes. So first one being, what do I do with negative scores? Um, I'm going to actually go through the actual breakdown of people's results right after this, but I would say ignore the salience of positive or negative scores. What's most important in this assessment is actually which ones are higher and which ones are lower. Right. So the higher ones are basically like your dominant hands, where, hey, if I tell you to brush your teeth with your dominant hand, no problem. You'll just do it in your sleep. But if I ask you to brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand, then you're like, oh, wait, I'm going to have to put some conscious effort. So your higher scores are basically stuff that feels more effortless. And then stuff at the bottom, just stuff that costs you more effort and energy. Right. So that's the first question with negatives. Still, with in your specific situation with creativity, we might have to dig into more details in terms like in what context are you talking about creativity? That's one thing I would raise, and then the other thing would be is what's the difference between stuff that you enjoy and stuff you're competent in, right? So this assessment is primarily around stuff you enjoy. You can be, like I said, in the zone of excellence. You can be really good at stuff that you don't enjoy, and you can also not be good at things that you do enjoy. So you could see it as a strength in the sense that maybe you have a lot of experience there, but the inherent seed of personal expression for expression's sake, that's like the central thing of the artisan. And so that would be the clarification of like if you scored low there, it makes me wonder if you enjoy that inherently and would do that for fun on a weekend or on an evening, basically.
I think I was broaching it as like in a work setting, so everything was more work oriented than just personal gratification.
Yes. Yeah. So Yeah, it sounds like you have strong competence in that, but maybe just purely from an intrinsic enjoyment standpoint, maybe not as strong. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm a writer, and when I come up
Okay.
with solutions to problems, they're usually left brain, I mean right brain. So,
Okay. So would love to dive into that deeper with you. Sometimes this discrepancy happens. Happy to chat about it later. Okay. All right. Zoltan, are you here?
Yes, hi everyone.
Alrighty. Let's look at yours. Oops. Prolific, visionary, strategic creator. No, wait. This was copy and pasted from a different
I
one.
think,
Like,
yeah,
yeah. Sorry. People attuned, impact driven curiosity.
now this one is spot on.
Okay. I
Awesome.
faked you. Great to know. Okay. And then, sorry, come back to V. Are you back?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Okay. V. Intuitive slash strategic, prolific creator.
Yeah, when you pasted on the other one, I'm like, that feels like me. But yes, I
Okay.
wholeheartedly agree.
Okay. So great to hear. I feel like I was 8 for 10. So slightly off for one, and then still had some questions. So uh, we'll work on that. But I'm glad for the most part there was a lot of resonance. Okay, so that's some personal time. Now to kind of enrich everyone's understanding, I actually want to go through how did I actually arrive to all of these one-liners without personally knowing any of you, and this basically would serve to basically help you understand the framework a little bit more. So it's two-pronged approach, like giving a little bit more background for the individuals that got these one-liners, but for everyone else, it's like, okay, now a practical understanding of or a live context to understand all the genius categories. All right. Okay. So we'll start. So basically, we'll go through each of the one-liners again for the people that were here, and I'll basically explain, well, how did I arrive to that? All right. Okay. So these are the genius categories. And so you can basically check in this row to understand, hey, briefly, what does this genius mean? Right. And of course, you can take the assessments and on the results page, it goes down in depth in terms of what each of these mean. But this is just a shortcut because we're in a workshop, we have limited time. Right. And so, of course, there's two assessments. So there's a lot to read. So that's why there's enough reps. I'm going to try to, through repetition, kind of walk you through each of these. So we'll actually just start with me, just because I could be an example. And I also converted everyone's numbers rather than showing raw numbers. I converted it just to red, meaning these are your lower scores, yellow, meaning this is like middle-ish high scores, and then green being these are your strongest scores. Right? Because again, that's the whole point. The numbers aren't actually too relevant for numbers' sake. Right? So in my case, I basically am like a deep and negative, like 10 or something for presence, right? So experiencing subtle emotions. That means it costs me more effort to notice, name, and feel my emotions, right? It doesn't mean I can't, it doesn't mean I'm not good at it, it doesn't mean I haven't practiced it, it just means it costs me more effort, right? And so it's okay, like it's possible to be good and things to cost you effort. That's very possible. And then on the other extreme, thinking frameworks and applying them. I love frameworks. I love my spreadsheets. I love boxing things. I created a whole personality test. That's how much I love frameworks. Right. So thinking frameworks, applying them. So I have a lot of steps and processes and frameworks about how to do this thing in 10 steps. This whole step-by-step system to do that thing. Right. I love doing this. I do this for fun. Right. And just noticing my highest and lowest, you also notice when you look down the entire category, there are people who do not enjoy that. Alina does not as much enjoy thinking in frameworks and applying them compared to me. Same with
Correct.
Sultan,
I find it fun to
right?
challenge conventional wisdom to
Yeah,
create different path forward.
yes. And then same thing with presence.
Excited
I
to work.
oh
Yes.
I think someone is unmuted. Okay, yeah, thanks. Okay, that you muted me. No worries. So with presence again, it costs me effort to do this, but for some people, very easy, very effortful, very enjoyable, right? And so the whole point is that hey, everything that you might enjoy, someone actually just does not enjoy, costs them much more effort. And this starts creating a picture of, oh, this is what I'm uniquely good at. This is this thing that I think is obvious and normal. Me thinking in frameworks, that's normal? No, it is not. There's literally a bunch of people on the planet that like for in which that is effortful, right? So this is a very simple contrast, right? So for me, yeah, love thinking frameworks, lots of strategy, right? And then let's go on this side. Um, so a lot more categories here. This is the reason for this assessment is it boxes things specifically in the work context, right? These four geniuses right here, dreamer, assessor, reveal, ideator, these are more about sitting back and evaluating what's happening, planning strategy, figuring out what's wrong, where to go next, right? These are more evaluatory. These three geniuses tend to be more like, how do we get the thing done? Right. So cultivator is like about helping the people who get it done. Supporter is also kind of managery, helping the people get it done. And executor is the most, how do we get the thing done? Right. That's like rough vibes. Okay. So for me, I like thinking more. I like evaluating things and then getting things done costs a bit more effort. Right. In my case, executor, getting things done even without intrinsic interest. I'm a deep negative here. So that means it costs me more effort to do things I do not care about. It costs me a lot of effort to do my taxes. It costs me a lot of effort to do data entry because I don't really care about data entry, right? It doesn't mean that I cannot get things done at all. It just means that if I don't care about it, hard to get done, right? So I skew more on vision. I skew more on kind of discernment. I skew more on just, hey, problem solving in the immediate. And I skew more in, hey, how do I help the people that are overwhelmed next to me? Right. And again, same principle. People can enjoy the things that you don't, and people can not enjoy the things that you do. And there's a lot of complementariness. Okay. So that's a little bit using me as an example. So let's go over Katya. We'll basically spend the next 10-ish minutes doing this. So we'll just go through a lot of reps. Okay. So Katya, again, the one-liner was prolific, visionary, strategic creator. So prolific, where did I get that? Prolific, alchemist, breadth of learning, breadth of curiosity. You like dabbling, you like doing a lot of things, exposing to yourself to a lot of variety. So lots of volume, lots of differential things. So in my mind, that maps to prolific. Visionary, how did I get visionary? Dreamer, big picture, long-term vision, long-term thinking 10 years down the road. Hey, what's something that no one else has done? How do we apply that? That's how we get visionary. Strategic creator. Where do I get that? So I'm combining these two. So thinking in frameworks, this is quite a strategic genius. Expression, and then for artisan is this expression, unique is creation. So this is a creator. This is quite strategic. So strategic creator. All right. So it's just a lot of these words kind of map to each other pretty well. Okay. With V, intuitive/strategic prolific creator. So where do I get intuitive/strategic? Well, we just covered strategic, right? Deconstructor. So V, we had this, and then we have this. So somatic is about intuition, guts. People who say things like, you know what, that doesn't feel right. People who trust their gut feeling, who like go with trust their intuition. Those two combine. It's intuitive/strategic. Okay, and prolific creator. We already went over these. So prolific, again, is alchemist. Lots of things. Try to dabble, experiment, learn. And then creator, artisan. Right? Pretty straightforward. Tian. So curious, people smart. Where do we get that? Curious and people smart. So highly curious is the alchemist side. Learn. People smart. People who are attuned to emotion can understand, okay, how are people reacting emotionally? What is the emotional flavor of the reaction, not just the content, not the intellectual side. So reading people is often really about emotion and like context clues and body language, right? And combine that with assessor. Assessor, slowing down. Hey, what's actually happening underneath here? What's the root cause here? So you have this understanding human emotion, this proclivity to ask, hey, why are they like that? And then widely curious. So this kind of combines like, hey, very curious and also very people smart. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alita, people attuned to build for impact, eye for detail. People attuned. How do we get people attuned? So that's basically presence. Again, very, very people oriented. Coach has some vibes around this. It's about having an impact on others. And I believe there was, okay, no, there wasn't all things like. So people attuned, builder for impact. I basically combined coach plus artisan. So coach is about, hey, does this benefit other people? Does this have a meaningful impact on other people? Combined with artisan, which is, hey, how are we expressing, how are you building, how are you creating? So you combine that, build the things for impact, right? Build it for impact. And the eye for detail part that maybe Lena was a little skeptical on, the eye for detail was a combination of revealer, which is calling out problems and concerns. Hey, if something's wrong, speak up, right? So people who are high on revealer means that whenever they see things, they'll just name it. People who are on low on revealer, like me, we wait. When we see a problem, we wait and we wait until it feels like a very critical mass, until it becomes really problematic. And like, hey, this is really important, right? Higher revealers are more likely to say, hey, the moment I see it, even if it's small, I'm going to point it out. And that's where that's one layer, the eye for detail. And then I noticed that generally with artisans, when they own the creative vision, they're more likely like, hey, this is misaligned. So both of those kind of rhyme. And that's what creates the eye for detail. Okay, I'm going to scan for some questions real quick. Okay. So one question Shika had was, how do we utilize this assessment, generous world quiz, and Enneagram? It's easy to get overwhelmed by all these tests. Okay, maybe to address that, one way to say that is, say, the generalist assessment kind of speaks to like how it is a very work-oriented dimension. And this is why I like showing everyone's scores across all categories. The challenge with certain assessments is like it doesn't provide nuanced commentary when like two scores are very similar. So I think generous assessment gives you four categories, and it just gives you, hey, you are this for your basically your highest score, and doesn't accommodate for the nuances of if you have a second one that's a close tie. So that's one inherent challenge with some assessments. I would say when it comes to the Genius assessment, this one, it helps speak to motivations. For example, presence is probably more motivated by meaningful connection, like the social context of the workplace, and just having a healthy social environment. It's just motivated to have like deeper connections. Somatic is likely motivated by having really high autonomy, to be able to go with trust. You're trusting your intuition and gut instinct. Coach, very clear cut. You're motivated by impact. Like if the thing that you're doing, the product that you're building, moves a meaningful needle for society, has a very tangible impact on your customers, you're going to be very motivated by that. You'll move mountains to do that. Alchemist, if you're not learning in your workplace, you're going to hate yourself. This genius just won't be, the itch won't be scratched. So there's a lot of alchemists in this room, all the greens here. So this is a really core important challenge or need or want. And that's not true for everyone, right? There's some reds here, right? Superhuman, they want challenge, just want to be challenged, brute force, intensity, right? I want to shoot for the moon. I want ambition, right? This is one of the rarer geniuses, right? Dexter is the only one that has a green hair. Everyone else is, you know what? I'm not going to do challenge just for challenge sake. I need to have another reason that motivates me, right? An artisan, autonomy, creative autonomy is probably the biggest motivator, which is, hey, do I have freedom to express myself? Deconstructor, I would say the biggest motivation here is actually intellectual challenge. So not quite the same as deconstructor, where it's just challenge for challenge sake, deconstructor is more intellectual challenge. So you can see these basically as forms of motivators. Like, why am I doing this? What is the meaningful carrot on the stick? Whereas work assessment is specifically about this specific behavior when it comes to work, when it becomes a specific project. Where do I light up? Okay. And so I think there's obvious blends into the genius assessment and the Enneagram. I unfortunately am not deeply fluent enough in either of those frameworks to really speak on a nuanced level, but I would imagine you can copy and paste a bunch of results into a GPT or an LLM and it'll like give you like a rough synthesis. So that's a great question. Okay. So we're limited on time. So I want to get through the rest of these in the next few minutes. Actually, let's do a quick straw poll. Shall we move on to the next section and just do a closing recap so we have more time for questions, or do you want me to keep going through the last 10? Just do a quick yes, no. Yes, let's keep going.
I think let's do the next section and the questions because there are a couple of old questions in the chat as well.
Great. Okay. Thank you for the executive call. Okay. So hopefully that was a helpful explanation of Elementary's framework of the genius assessment. Okay. So some reminders. Again, this assessment is about enjoyment, not competence. So you can enjoy things that you're not good at, and vice versa. You can be good at things that you do not inherently enjoy. Okay? And hey, enjoyment, the more awareness that you have around what you enjoy, that creates a long-term path to mastery. And that leads to creating careers you can actually enjoy in the long term as well as the short term. Right? Again, people can enjoy things you dread. Always a helpful reminder. Okay, I want to get practical, a little bit more practical. So take home reflection exercise. You can ask yourself, of all the professional competencies I have, where do they fall on the genius framework? Which is the zone of incompetence, right? Excellence, future zone of genius, and zone of genius. I already mentioned this earlier, but I'm reiterating. So, hey, just labeling all the skills that you have. But to go a little deeper, at your current place of work, how can you find a way to do 2x more of what you do enjoy in exchange for 2x less of what you do not enjoy? So basically, how do we do more of this in exchange for less of this? Right? And literally just doing this maybe once a year with your team or having a conversation with your manager, this could yield really powerful results. And of course, we're all in different work environments, and some environments are more friendly to this. Some environments are less friendly to more friendly or less friendly. I know it's variable, but this is a tactic. It's a good, useful exercise to try, because if you don't try, you won't know. Okay. Okay. So more practicals. 4 broader approaches to take action on your scores. 1 is slowly negotiate parts of your current work situation around your geniuses, which is what I just mentioned. Right? So trade tasks and projects you don't enjoy for ones that you do enjoy. Repeat this biannually if you can. Second, hard pivot. Look elsewhere for work context that's more conducive, because the reality is not every team is that flexible. Not every company is that flexible, right? That's a job hunt, or maybe just change teams, change managers. Maybe you just have a frustrating manager, challenging manager. 3 is build your own sandbox around your zones of genius, which is side hustles, full hustles, and contracting or hobbies. All right. And then a long game, like I mentioned, develop your future zones of genius. So again, stuff that you are not yet good at, but do enjoy for use in the future. Right. And so this can look like hobbies, classes, training, and volunteering. Right. Volunteering is very underrated. All right. Just some quick stories. This is my friend Misa. She used to run this very boring B2B company that's post-agent call surveys. Not that sexy, not that fun. I shared my commentary around what I saw in her results. She was very high coach. That was like high coach and kind of low everything else. And so I'm like, hey, like it sounds like if all you could do was have a positive impact on other people, you would really enjoy that. If whether it's one-on-one or at scale, you'd probably enjoy both. She's like, wow, that's great. I didn't talk to her for a year, and she started an entirely different company that's a professional growth community for Asian women. She's like, I think they're very profitable right now. So yeah, she took it, ran with it. It doesn't take that much sometimes to just be aware, to get that permission for yourself to embrace things that you do enjoy. Another story. Another friend. She wound down a company in the previous year. She was soul searching. It was like a CPG company. I basically said to her, "Hey, like you score really high on somatic, and you also score high on coach. Like if you could do something around following your intuition and like having a meaningful impact on people, anything that caters to that." She kind of just took the most direct version of that. It's like, I'm going to start a coaching community for intuitive women. She ran with it. Okay, lastly, this is actually my girlfriend, but she used to work lead marketing at an Ancestry.com equivalent around genealogy. I did a team analysis with her core team with 5 people. All 5 people took both assessments. I laid it out just like in the spreadsheet you guys saw, but it was a single team. And basically, she was green on artisan, and then everyone else on her team was red. So she basically immediately saw, I'm like, oh, I am the only artisan on this team. This is not going to be a helpful environment. They haven't been really helpful in nurturing to this particular genius. Maybe it's time to leave, to find an environment that's more friendly to my artisan. Right. So sometimes it doesn't take that much just to be aware of, hey, I really enjoy this. Maybe I should go after it. And this, I really don't enjoy it. Maybe I should stop doing this. Right. So again, like I mentioned at the very beginning, I can't fully deliver on helping you all find a career you enjoy by in the next 8 minutes, but I will try to set you on a path and give you tools. So if you want, this is totally free. You can book a 20-minute one-on with me, and I can basically give you more deep dive personal commentary on what your scores actually mean. Because, like I said, I only did that for a handful of people here. You can scan this QR code. The link, again, this deck will go out as well, so don't feel free to either rush this or do this immediately. But yeah, whatever you need, personalized commentary, how to renegotiate your current situation, if you want a hard pivot, how to design your own sandbox, how to design systems to develop that future zone of genius. And of course, you can ask me anything on this call. It's just to help you understand, because ultimately, all personality frameworks in my mind are useful, but they become a lot more useful when you can talk to someone who understands the framework really well. Okay, so that's free, quick chat. Will make it very useful for you. Second way is this is a product that I'm developing. So if you help me, try this beta. You can try it for free. It's a 45-minute dream job finder GPT. Basically, I can help you find aspirational personality fit jobs that you never knew existed, that are based off of your results. And then once we find what that title is, we can reverse engineer and find exact gaps in your resume to actually get those roles. And we go even further. We can start developing concrete projects to close those resume gaps. Doesn't matter whether you're employed or not. So again, hyper practical, and in beta. So just give me feedback, and if it goes well, maybe write me a testimony. You can scan that QR code, and again, the deck will go out, so you will have that link. Okay. Lastly, is just feedback. This workshop has gone through a bunch of iterations. It would be helpful to get some feedback. There's only one required question. Let me just drop this in the chat. Yes, Mariana, yes, you can do both. You can book both calls if you would like. So it would be helpful if you gave me feedback. There's only one required quantified question. And while you do that, and while we wait, if you have pressing questions that I did not address, we can do that right now over the next 5 minutes, and we can linger until people are wrapped up.
Yeah. By the way, I'll just watch for you, Brendan. It's that, I think we've been doing this workshop. It's the third one we've been doing this since last year, maybe, or maybe even before that. And
almost 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that loads of people in the community had a chat with you, done the test, etc. And we got so many feedback around how useful it was. That's why we're opening up our stage to Brendan all the time.
Great.
Yeah. So, by the way, I just shared all the links on the chat, people. So let me share it again for you. And I'll actually have a challenge for everyone, which is something that we like to do after our open events. I have posted something on LinkedIn, and I would like, you've been here helping each other out on the chat. I like that people are replying to each other's questions. So feel free to go to that LinkedIn post and like connect with each other, or like share your LinkedIns on the chat as well. And if anyone has any burning questions in the last couple of minutes, feel free to ask them out.
Yes, Mary, I agree. There's a reason why I don't call this a scientific analysis. And I'm not in a rush in particular to try to provide really hard or rigorous scientific validation around this, because this is inherently a subjective framework around what you enjoy. And what you enjoy is very subjective and can change, and it's kind of a fuzzy definition. It's not really a hard science. Okay, Faizan, what are the top concerns from naysayers? Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean by naysayers? Yeah, feel free to chime into the chat. I'm just scanning the chat right now. I'm hanging around. I'll be around until people are ready to go.
There's a question from Gabrielle. Maybe
Okay.
by being like a long-time generalist, you can help out with that, Brendan.
What was the question? Okay.
Yeah.
I understand most people are looking for career shift. Wondering if there's advice for people who are just starting out in the careers, but already they know they're a generalist. Ooh. Yeah, so I would anchor on basically whatever your genius results are. So when I was basically mentioning these motivations, these core motivations, I would anchor most on that, which is, hey, if you're hiring a coach, then do a beeline drive or look for things and causes that you really resonate with, because that's where you'll do your best work. All the skills that you'll pick up are because you care about the end result. Learning, look for places, if it's Alchemist, look for places that offer the most learning. I would join a startup. Start because you're just working so much and doing so many things, wearing so many hats. Superhuman, figure out the domain that you're really good at, double down on. Artisan, look for creative autonomy. This is probably harder early in your career. Same with somatic. So somatic and artisan probably struggle more in their early career because it's hard to get autonomy early in your career. That usually comes with seniority. Deconstructor tends to thrive really well. It's just so long as it's intellectually challenging, they'll go for it. Presence, this is more about people. So long as you're in a good people environment, you'll like all the other things will kind of trickle. Yeah, hopefully I answered that. Feel free to ask a follow-up if there's more detail.
Yeah, I also shared Brendan's LinkedIn and the Genius of You website. So if anyone has like any follow-up questions, feel free to connect with him on there as well. And I think on the post-event email, we'll be sending the spreadsheet as well, right?
Correct. Yes. Spreadsheet will be going out to everyone. So yes, because again, I did one-liners for everyone who submitted, but did not go over live all of them. So yes, it will go out.
Amazing. So everyone, please be patient and wait for tomorrow. So I'll be sending the recap, the recording, and like the slide decks, etc. Everything.
Yes.
You
will have everything.
And I have a feeling that we'll run this session again and again and again. So keep an eye on the calendar, everyone. So yeah, thank you for spending your hour with us. I think that was brilliant, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Okay. Sally said, I lead in presence, but find that being around others can be often exhausting. Yes. With presence, given the emotional salience, yes. Emotional overwhelm can be exhausting. So if you look in the presence section in the, I guess, assessment results, it does comment on, hey, you kind of need ebb and flow. You can basically burn yourself out by emotional highs and kind of feeling through others' emotions as well and being basically like an empath. So yeah, presence folks have this difficult tension of, on one hand, shiny emotions, on the other hand, got to take a break to recharge. And that's just a practice, that's a competency that you got to develop over the years, and set boundaries for yourself, for your own health. Mary said, are you enjoying this type of work? There's different facets of course, running a company. There's always aspects that you do enjoy and always aspects that are less enjoyable. And so my go-to productivity hack of when there are things I don't want to do that I don't enjoy, because that's just part of life and work and building a company, is social accountability. Is I literally have a weekly call with a friend called Eat Shit, and for 2 hours we do the thing that we are avoiding and like dread doing. So it just adds a little bit of camaraderie and fun to the process. So that's side note. And so Mary's second question, aside from your feedback, how can people support your product? Do take the beta. Like doing the beta session helps me. It helps me, helps you, it helps everyone, because it moves towards a fleshed out product that I can launch that basically can help people at scale. And then, yeah, if you got a lot out of it, feel free to share the links with a friend, because I have basically done no marketing on this product so far. It's public, but I'm not prioritizing marketing because there's just a lot of work to get done. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, share it with a friend. If any of you have already taken time to read through the assessment results, like the entire, like there's literally over 50 pages of results that I have personally typed. I wrote all of that. There are multiple calls to action in every single section. Every single Genius section has like a mini activity and worksheet, and almost every section has a way to like, hey, if you need extra support, you can book 10-minute call with me. There's like so many ways to get support and value out and milk the insights from this assessment, even if you don't listen to this workshop. So even for people who are your friends of friends who can't show up to this, there's a lot of value baked into the assessment results.
Well, I will do the thing and wrap up the session.
Okay.
I did share the links to the assessment again on the chat for anyone who missed it, but again, I'll be sharing it tomorrow as well. But overall, just go to the Genius of You website and then you will see the links there as well. Thank you so much, Brandon. It was amazing. And thank you everyone for joining and all your inputs and being on stage. Yeah. Right. Well, I'll see everyone in the January events. Take care and see you later.
All right. Thank you all.